Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Counselor's Office. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Scholars! We are continuing the train of reacting to the individual bits of the Heresy Act 2 dev stream. What you see on the screen is probably one of the best things, I think, outside of Into the Light. One of the freest events that I think Bungie has ever done. What am I talking about? Well, first off, Bungie is creating a brand new event called Rites of the Nine. It's free, so before you freak out, they have chosen 3 different dungeons. Spire of the Watcher, Prophecy, and Ghost of the Deep. Free. You don't have to pay for it. Usually, outside of Prophecy, the other 2 are paid content. So if you're like, I don't own it or I don't want to pay for it, guess what? You don't have to. And you can also get your friends invested because, and we'll get to that in a minute, you're able to have them play for free. This is I don't know how long, I know it rotates per week. I don't know how long specifically. This is a limited time event. It's essentially Into the Light 2.0, where you're going to be able to attune weapons. These specific weapons are chosen to be your chase weapons. The big thing about this event is that you're going to go through and there's 2 different modes, and we'll talk about those modes in a minute, but you're going to go through these two different modes and you're going to chase these weapons. These are dungeon weapons that anyone has access to now, which is fantastic. They're going to be revamped, recolored, re-themed, new perks, and a new origin trait for the Adepts. I don't know all the perks on all these. I don't think anyone knows just yet. But it looks like they're going to have some really juicy rolls. They're going to be worth your time because generally, Into the Light, most of the weapons had fantastic rolls. And Bungie, again, talked a lot about Into the Light and some of the holofoil weapons that were in that. You're getting the same thing here, except it's a dungeon. It's a challenge. There's the one mode, and I'll go ahead and talk about that because this is kind of like the big part, is that dungeons will now be like contest mode. If I can find the actual weapon itself that I want to look at, because Bungie was showcasing, there it is. So we got Adept. So the Adept versions are going to have a new origin. Well, I take that back. All of these weapons are going to have a new origin trait that's specific to this event. You're not going to be able to go into the individual dungeons themselves if you own them and get this. This is a limited time weapon that you have to farm in that moment. There are Adepts. They do give you double perk drops. They are re-schemed. These aren't just like, these are actual hollow foils of the dungeon weapons. So they're based off of the 9, which I think are badass. Like, it's got the galaxy vibe. Really freaking cool. Like, absolutely excited for it. And it's going to give a lot of new toys for people who may not have them, but also new toys for people like me who just been wanting to eat it up, baby. We've been wanting to eat it up. Absolutely. I want to say, I don't know how I feel about it, but Bungie's introducing the modifier no swap. Essentially, you can't swap your exotics in the dungeon. It's supposed to be contest modifiers. It's supposed to be challenging. And the main objective, it's usually you try to not wipe, or you try not to, try to get a bunch of champion kills to get points and all this, etc. The way you maximize your earnings, your ability to get these Adepts and all this schloot at the end, is by not dying, which I think is a fair challenge. Like, trying to go flawless in a contest mode activity is kind of interesting, like an interesting spin, but it's obviously meant for the veterans, the diehards, the people that want the challenge, who want to chase the loot. And that's why Bungie made this activity specifically for us. And I say us because I'm absolutely going to be doing this. And you're going to get sweet, sweet loot. But what if you're a new player? What if you're like, man, it's just Pantheon again. I'm not going to be able to participate in this. I'm not going to be able to do this. Bungie finally did something. They did probably one of the best things, probably opened up the gateway for improving the game by actually making like a Director Mode Lite. If you don't know what that means, in Call of Duty, in the new Call of Duty Black Ops 6, they introduced what's called Director Mode for zombies. Zombies is well known for having secrets and like mini missions, a quest line that you fill out and you get like this cool Easter egg. Well, most people didn't interact with that because they didn't know what to do. So Call of Duty is like, hey, we're going to make a director mode that tells you step by step by step how to do the thing. How do you actually do this thing? Bungie kind of copied that homework, and I say kind of because they gave more flexibility that it doesn't tell you one for one. It leads you into figuring it out. It does give you tooltips. If we go to like the gameplay, they give you tooltips. They give you like directional, like, okay, come over here, go to this thing. But if you go up to the thing, it explains the thing. So if you struggle with reading, which is common amongst most people who play Destiny, now's the time to learn how to read, because you as a new player or casual can finally do a dungeon. You can do a dungeon. I think this is fantastic. I think this is such a good change because the new player experience has been abysmal. And dungeons, along with raids, is probably one of the best content in the game. And it's probably, raids are most definitely the most underused, but dungeons are also getting there. It's a little easier, more welcoming than raids because it was made to be able to be soloed. So that's why it's more embraced by people who want to play solo, whereas raids, you can't do that. I think it's phenomenal that Bungie's finally doing something for the new player experience or the casuals. I keep saying new players, but there's a lot of people who are casuals who play the game every day, but they just can't do dungeons, or they struggle with dungeons, or they struggle with content in the game in general. This explore mode, as they call it, allows them to teach new players or guide them to come up with their own ability to figure it out, to solve it with little notes, little directionals, like, hey, maybe you should go check this out. My honest opinion, and I'm going to be very critical, I think this is great. This is kind of like, without telling people, still gives them the freedom to explore and kind of like figure it out on their own. I think that's great. I think they need a true director mode where it literally holds their hand all the way. A, B, C, just do this. That's my general thought. Just on the screen, like director mode for zombies does. It literally tells you exactly verbatim what to do. I think we need that mode for sure. But I will say Bungie removed the darkness zones. They reduced the penalties for rezzing. So if you fail, it's not like an instant wipe, which is fantastic. You just continue on. Like, it's very forgiving, as they explained it, which is what it needs to be for people who are wanting to actually learn to do the thing. It's hard to, like, especially if you're doing a damage run, like a boss fight. It's hard to just sit there and explore in the middle of a damage fight, especially if there's wipe mechanics or tokens and stuff like that. Like, you can't really do that as a new player. You have to have someone has to tell you immediately what to do, or you have to hope that you have someone who's guiding you, like, do this, do that, do that. There's no real exploration for new players to figure it out on their own without being punished. Like, obviously people still do things blind and solo, and they manage to do it. But we're talking about the overall community who are new or casual. Most of them don't figure it out. That's why most raids aren't interacted with anymore. Like, if you look at the statistics, raids and even dungeons are some of the most underused things in Destiny, which is a shame. So my personal feelings and opinion is that the more Bungie opens them up without destroying the activities themselves, like, this is a separate mode. That's what we needed. A separate mode that does not impact the general normal mode or the master mode. That is its own difficulty. We have a separate one for those that want to actually learn. That is fantastic. And you can still earn loot. I think that's great too. You should earn basic loot. I don't know how if they were to translate this into the game itself, like normal mode, if you do it on your own without having to do the explore mode, how are you going to make it different from reward wise. And I say that because there's going to be that pocket of people who are like, well, I should just use explore mode because doing normal is pointless. Like everyone else is getting the loot, and so why bother? It's just so stupid that everyone gets the same loot as me and they don't have to put as much effort as I do. Those people exist, and we all know they do. And there's gonna be the group of people that are gonna bitch about it. My personal thought for them is fuck them. That's why you do master. You get artifice armor. And I think you should also get Adept versions like you do this event. But my overall thought for people like that who are like, fuck them. I think if you're a new player, I think you should absolutely invest your time. Dungeons are amazing. Dungeons are fun. Please do not feel scared. Please invest in exploring. Please do it. If there's any content in Destiny that's worth the bacon, that's worth your time, it's dungeons. Dungeons are fantastic. I would love to see Bungie do this with raids, though I would say I don't want the explore mode. I would want an actual direct, like, because you're dealing with 6 people versus 3, and you're also could just do this solo as well. Raids you can't do solo, and it's total of 6 people. I would rather raids be a full-on direct, tell you absolutely what to do, and no wipes, no tokens, just play it, and then maybe get like a reduced amount of rewards for it. I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't care. Like if you want to do explore mode and they get the same amount of loot, whether you do that or do raids, obviously like people are going to do the easier version to get the easiest amount of loot, pop off. I don't think that should reduce, that shouldn't take away from the fact that people need that mode. That's my personal thought. Maybe if you do the normal mode, you get like a bonus drop of, you get the bonus drop at the end of a raid. Like you get 2 weapons instead of just 1 or something like that, just to make it. You can only get that for doing the normal mode completion. And it has to be a full run. I don't know. That's not my job to figure out. I personally don't care when it comes to weapons. Anyone who thinks that prestige matters based on guns is just stupid. It doesn't matter. My thought process is implement this into the game completely, not just for this event. Teach new players how to play the game. For the love of God, that's one of my biggest gripes, is that people expect you to teach. I'm not spending 2 hours to teach one raid. I'm sorry. I have a full-time job. My job is not to teach you. I'm not doing it. I have a limited amount of time, and I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to be an asshole. I don't care. It's not my job. It is Bungie's job, and Bungie's finally doing something about it. Granted, it's just dungeons, and it's just this event. I hope in Frontiers they expand, they implement this. Maybe this is a test run to see how it's received. I hope this becomes the baseline for the entire game. This explore mode is the baseline. We start from somewhere. I think this is great. I know I've talked a lot about this, but I've been a very big proponent of Bungie improving the new player experience, because it does impact me as a veteran. Because when I want to do a raid, I shouldn't have to spend 2 hours to teach people how to do the raid when it's something that was posted that says know what to do, and it's just some dude who doesn't actually know what he's doing. He just wants you to be able to do it. It's really annoying and frustrating. And I know like it's me being an asshole and kind of complaining about it. But let's be honest, it is not, I didn't sign an NDA, or not NDA, like a contract that says if I play Destiny, I have to teach every person I play with. And let's be honest, new players and casuals who've been wanting to do this content don't want to have to deal with making people upset. They don't. They don't want to be the asshole that lies, that says they know what they do when they don't. They don't want to be the jerk that ruins a run for people. Maybe some of them do, but not most of them don't. They just want to be able to play the game. And I think this is perfect for teaching them to do it. And I hope it pops off. I hope that what I want, and this is kind of like my final rant, I hope this event is so successful. I hope that, like, I know it come dissing Heresy. I hope Heresy, like, just Act 2 is just like this abysmal dog water population. But as soon as this event comes out, I want us to be back into like the 200K players. because it's a free event and it's letting people actually play in-game content. Like I hope it, like it's hopium, it's copium, but I think this is what we need to see in the game for it to thrive and exist. Really, really. This is how you make a game continue to exist, is getting new blood without ruining the game, without watering the game down. You are just simply making a mode that just teaches people how to do it. You're not changing and ruining the game to fit casuals. You're just making a mode specifically for them to learn. Boom. Your tutorial, your beginner's guide. This is it. And for new players for this event, you get to do a contest mode dungeon, which people have been asking for content, more contest modes, more challenges. We finally get it, and we get some kick-ass loot. I'm hoping it's kick-ass. It looks kick-ass. We get some kick-ass loot. Gravity Well, which essentially that the trait that you get, I don't know, mention it. I'm going to mention it now. Gravity Well is essentially shoot to loot, but on a gun. I don't know how far it goes, but you reload your gun and it picks up all the loot near you. That sounds like there's some really freaking cool options for builds. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how it plays out, Cotton. But overall, this is probably the most excited I have been for like a release since Into the Light. I'll say Final Shape, I was excited for it too, but that was on the heels of Into the Light, and we're finally getting a Into the Light 2.0. I'm excited. More excited than the seasonal content stuff. I'm more excited for the actual event, especially if they continue this trend next year with in Frontiers. We get another Rites of the Nine, and we get like 3 new dungeons. Though I will criticize, why the F is it Spire? Why is it Spire when we have Pit of the Heresy, which would have matched the seasonal theme? Pit of Heresy, episode Heresy. Like, come on, someone at Bungie didn't make that correlation. Like, and I know it's the moon weapons, and maybe they didn't want to have the moon weapons come back again, or they have plans to do something with moon weapons. I don't know. I feel like the moon weapons are slept on and they're just been abandoned and forgotten. That's me. That's just me. Anyways, it is a limited time event, so you're going to have to put some focus into it. I think that's great. I'm glad it's at the end of the act, because if it was in the middle of Act 2, then you're juggling, like, what do I want to do? At the end of the act, there's not much going on, and it's leading into the summer. I'm excited. My summer break is going to be popping with this, and then also playing different video games. So hit the like button, comment down, let me know what you think, especially if you're a new or casual player. Are you excited for this? Is this making you want to try Destiny again? Are you a veteran? Are you excited for contest mode style dungeon with like adepts? Is this rewarding for you? How you feeling? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Hit the like button. Until next time.